Good evening and salutations, my Days of Our Lives fans. So, I want to start off with Leo and his mother. I don't even remember what his mother's name is, so his mother. So he goes there, this script in hand, ready to sit there and just pretty much tell her all the different ways that she has effed him up from childhood to adulthood. And when she starts talking to him, right off the bat, it's like this woman is a piece of work, right? And no child should ever have to sit there and grow up with someone like that. You know, when Leo was talking, or maybe during the end, or whatever, he was like, "You should have never been a mother. You don't deserve to be a mother. Some people in this world do not deserve to be mothers, and they do not deserve to be fathers." And she is definitely one of those people. Now, he starts off by, trying to read from the paper and everything like that. She mocks him. She mocks him for going to therapy. She mocks him for his lifestyle. And she doesn't straight up say, oh, I don't like you because you're gay. No, she says that you have a degenerate lifestyle, which to me is practically the same thing. Now, why he sits there and says that you really screwed me up as an adult. I have all these things like superficial relationships and this, that, and the third. She's like, I didn't do that to you. You did that to you. Now, look at it this way. On one hand, yes, I definitely do feel bad for Leo. No child should have to sit there and grow up like that. And he is screwed up the way he is because of her. But here's the thing, though. Well, that's true. You have a very terrible upbringing. As adults, we have choices, right? And, it's great that he's going to therapy now to sit there and try to be a better person and everything like that, but it's not an excuse, right? Like, you doing all the horrible things from setting Sonny up with that lawsuit of S harassment and all the other things that he's done, John, everything. That's on him. Yeah, you have a terrible childhood, but you still have choices as an adult, and you can choose right or wrong. But at some point she starts banging for the guard and everything like that. And she pretty much just like, after she takes the letter, rips it up, and tells him never to come back. He goes to the hospital, realizes that he can't, just walk in because at this point, you know, part of me's like, I know that he wanted to confront his mother for a cathartic reason and to, get it off his chest and hopefully kind of, seal his demons away. The only thing in reality he wound up doing was making the situation worse. I don't know if he actually told Marlena he was actually going to do that, but I'm pretty sure she would have said that's a bad idea. Because the only thing that I wound up doing is setting him back mentally, which is why he went to the hospital, realized he couldn't just walk in and try to make an appointment, but he's only able to get one the next day, so he's upset, he's crying, he sees Mark Green, and it just kind of ends there. But great scene, again, he had a screwed up childhood, and he is the way he is partly because of that. Now, I shouldn't say partly because of that, but at some point you do have to sit there and start making your own choices and trying to do better, especially when you realize that you are just doing messed up things. So, Paulina and Abe. You know what? Before I go to Paulina and Abe, I want to talk about Lucas and Lucas and Kate. Um, Not that much really happened between those two, except for the fact that Lucas said he was going to Arizona to be with Allie and Will and the grandkids. They talk. Well, I don't know. I think Sammy might be there. I don't know if Sammy's there or whatever, but he's just very happy that the kids are at least giving them chances to talk and work things out. In case like, well, Sammy practically drove you to do it. And I'm just like, wait, let me get this straight. You're telling me that Sammy drove him to kidnap her? Are you kid? I'm like, I know that you love your kids and everything like that, but come on, like that's I, in a lot of ways, she reminds me of one of those parents that, like, when a kid just messes up, they're just like, "No, it's your fault. My kid is perfectly fine." Like she just comes across as one of those annoying ass parents. Does even sit there and say something like that? But then she kind of walks it back a little bit, and then she's like, "Oh well, this is partly myself because Philip wanted doing the same thing, and maybe it's like a genetic thing or whatever." It's like, no, your kids just screwed up. That's all. That's the bottom line. Your kids just wind up screwing up in one way or the other. Um, and that's kind of crazy because Lucas and Philip are brothers, and they both wind up doing some very deranged things for love. So now Abe and Paulina are talking, and one of the things that Paulina is saying is that she hated firing Melinda to hire EJ. I'm like, well, you didn't really hate it that much because at the end of the day, it was more about keeping your job. So let's not let's not sit there and try to act like you're too beaten up over it. They talk about the sanitation department and how she Melinda wouldn't take it. Practically told her to shove that job where the sun don't shine. And then she asked Abe. I think she either asked Abe. No, Abe volunteered. And I'm just like, wait, let me get this straight. And I'm glad that he didn't do it because I'm just like, bro. So you went from mayor to being doing sanitation? Like, really? I'm not saying it's not like a terrible job or anything like that, but Paulina was like, you're overqualified, bro. You were literally mayor of the city, and you're going from that, and on top of that, you're going to be her underling. And so Paulina didn't want that. And for a minute, I thought that when Abe left and saw Kate, that he was going to ask her about the job. But Kate, realized that she needs to sit there and stop meddling in her children's business. So she was like, she's just going to do some sort of business or whatever that is. Just going back to Paulina, I'm just like, okay, so the worst thing that would have happened was you would have lost your job as mayor. But you're a millionaire. Like, you literally made your money, I think, doing like real estate and stuff. So, in all reality, I just feel like Paulina seems like the type of woman that wouldn't just sit there and just bow down and be like, okay, all right, fine, mercy or whatever. It's like, no, she'd be like, you know what? Screw it. You can, I'll fight you into the bitter end because at the end of the day, it's not like she's going to be destitute or anything like that. So it doesn't really make a lot of sense. All right, so let's talk about Chanel and Johnny. So Mark gives them some bad news saying that there's some gray spots or some sort of spots or whatever with the child and um going to sit there and try to set them up with a genetic counselor in case there's any sort of birth defects or anything like that. So once again, it starts to worry them. It starts to worry Chanel specifically. And they're talking for a little bit. Felicity comes in, and I think I said this before, but if I didn't, I'll just sit there and say this now. I hope they use Felicity more than just a prop for Johnny and Chanel. Because the whole point of Felicity is to make them generally feel better in case there is any sort of abnormalities or anything like that. either has Down syndrome or autism like Theo, because they talk about Theo, that things are going to be okay. So I just, I hope that they actually give her more of a story than just, the fact that she's a lovely girl. Her parents love her regardless of whatever that's going on with her. I just hope that they do more for her than just simply that. Now, for a minute, it almost seemed like Julie was going to sit there and tell Jack about Abby, but she doesn't. She just gives them. I mean, she just gives him the mystery box or whatever, and it's like, hey, maybe you and Jennifer can solve it. Um, and then so he leaves. So then, you know, um, Chad and Chad and Julius need to talking. And it seems like they kind of hit a dead end because they can't get to Clyde. Clyde is in federal prison, so the only thing they have to go on is, well, nothing really. So they're talking for a little bit about Abby. Lucas comes over, and he gives them the good news. And then out of nowhere, Julie's like, "No, we should tell him." But he can't tell anyone else. And I'm just like, but why are you telling him that? You know, like if you don't want this to get out, the fewer people to know, the better. So I don't really get that. Um. Anyway, he takes a look at the video and he's just, he doesn't believe it because you can't really see it. They sit there and say they can try to enhance the image, but Lucas is like most likely, Clyde is just, he's just messing with you. Um, so I'm very curious to sit there and see what is going to wind up happening next. Like, is he going to get more clues? Is he going to be able to talk to Clyde? Is it just going to be a dead end for a little bit? I'm very curious to sit there and see which direction that this is going to go. Now, just going off of yesterday's review, I don't know if Ava is actually going to be seen in any more scenes because Harry's gone and Trip and Wendy are gone and Allie's gone with the baby, so she doesn't really have any family ties there. So there's really no reason why she should still be there. Now, towards the end, you know, um, Johnny and Chanel go back to see Paulina. And when Paulina asks how was the appointment, Johnny lies and says everything is fine. Paulina talks about how Abe is out there getting them some food, and Chanel's like, yeah, that's good because my stomach is grumbling or whatever. But then out of nowhere, she starts to have sharp pains. Now, if we saw in the previews, it seems like she may be going into labor or whatever, or they're. I feel like they're hinting at a miscarriage, but you know, it's just that question mark. So I feel like the next couple of episodes should be pretty interesting. Plus, I heard we're going to be seeing a new Gabby this week. Um, so I'm very curious to sit there and see how they're going to do that. How the audience is going to respond to the new Gabby. Are they going to give her time? Or are they just going to sit there and be like, nay, just from off jump? I'm very curious of how that's going to go. Now, I feel like that's pretty much about it. I can't think of anything else, but as I always sit there and say, come to the live stream tonight. 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. We'll talk about all the shows, General Hospital, Days of Our Lives, Bold and Beautiful, Young and the Restless, and I will see you in the next video.